We're at episode 18 of Trio Talks. We have a wonderful guest today. I'm going to use the word wonderful more than I did lovely, which I used the word lovely a lot last week, and Philip loved that. So I'm going to use the word wonderful a lot today. So we have a wonderful guest. I would say we have a person who has a really can-do attitude, can really do a lot of things. I would say to be able to, can uh, explains who they are a lot. Um, they're uh, they're kind of a first man who can do anything. So, with all that being said, we have somebody today who is streaming in from another state that, let's just say they're volunteering their time to be with us. That describes where they're at. So they're volunteering their time, their willingness, their patience, their intellect to us, and they have a fan club already set up that's listening to them that right before we started recording that. We kind of already established that we have the Can Do fan club here in Oklahoma for someone who's volunteering their time and their intellect and their attitude and their willingness and their energy for us. We'll have a great interview. So this is where we set the tone for the podcast. Um, we try to establish three goals in each episode. We get the word out about the variety and range of people that work in Trio and the students they serve. And we also work to show the students, Trio alumni, any student that has participated in a Trio program, about their experience of how they were helped, how they benefited, um, where it's led them to where they are today. And we also talk about career success and financial sustainability as a result of students participating in TRIO. There are TRIO programs that work with middle school students. There are TRIO programs that work with adults. There are TRIO programs that work with veterans. We need to get a veteran in here, somebody that benefited from a Veterans Upward Bound. Um, there's also TRIO programs that work specifically with people trying to go to graduate school. That could be a wonderful aspect of today's episode, talking about the graduate school part. So, as a result of participating in any kind of those TRIO programs already stated, we talk about how the student's career, their major, their ideas of what they want to do, and their financial sustainability is a lot better as a result of targeting students that may not have access to the resources that they would if they were not in a TRIO program, how they benefited from participation in a TRIO program. And the third aspect is we teach gratitude because we're not just going to say, oh, well, just practice that. We're going to give examples of how to do that and teach people about different ways of being grateful, how the person is grateful for what they've received and how they're paying that forward. Whether they're a professional teaching that or a student or a trio alumni teaching that in the interview. So the three goals, variants of trio programs of professionals and students' stories of career success and financial success, and then teaching gratitude, which is part of segment three in each interview. So thank you guys for being present. I will let Philip do our introduction for our guest.
You know what's becoming hysterical at this point? That so often we we match the shirt color, even if it's a
Oh, yeah.
different shirt. Today we're wearing blue, light blue. One of the previous episodes we were both wearing pink. Sometimes we wear the exact same T-shirt. I'm getting some more gray in my beard and my hair, and the only thing that is missing is when I start losing my hair a little more, then Cameron and I will be exactly alike.
Yeah. That's kind of a scary thought for Southeastern Oklahoma. I'm not sure they can handle two of us.
Uh, okay, well, let us introduce our guest for today. Guest number 18. Adam Canler, he is a native of Kentucky. Fun fact, and I think I mentioned this before. I started my college in Kentucky before I came to Southeastern Oklahoma State. He married his high school sweetheart, Kimberly, and together they have 5 children. 3 of those are adults and 2 are still at home. As far as the education, Adam just recently, not long ago, graduated summa cum laude from Southeastern with major in psychology and minor in sociology. He was in a Psi Chi Honor Society, Alpha Chi Honor Society, Blue Key Honor Society. He is a proud trio student, and I'm sure he's going to tell us a little bit about that, as he was the part of both SSS and McNair Scholar. Currently, he is doing experimental psychology, a PhD program at East Tennessee State University. As far as work, he worked for 12 years in the auto industry, parts, sales, finance. Maybe he can tell us a little bit about that later too. He worked for 11 years as a pastor in a small rural community, and he is a board president of the Atoka Area Chamber of Commerce uh, for the past 3 years. I don't know if he's still doing that, but he can correct me if I'm wrong. As far as the things that he loves doing in his free time, if there is any, given everything that I just said, and that's probably not all that he has done and has been doing. He loves to travel internationally. He said that he visited 12 countries so far, and quite a few of those are specifically in East Africa, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. He loves coffee and he experiments with different roasts and brew methods. Well, first of all, Adam, welcome. Thank you again. And is there anything that I mentioned that you want to correct me? Did I leave something out or did I say something that is not accurate at the moment?
I think you hit all the high points. Thank you guys for having me. It's an honor to be here. The only thing, Philip, is I have now resigned from the Chamber of Commerce because I just relocated to Johnson City, Tennessee.
Okay, there we go. Well, let's go back to hobbies because that's where I tell us about the past, I guess, few weeks or whatever you can recall, the most recent coffee that you experimented with, something that is considered unusual that you really liked.
So the past couple of weeks have been mostly centered around everything I own being in boxes, and so it has been pretty basic of late. Um, Finally was able to get some things unpacked. So I just picked up a bag today of a local roast that I'm excited to try out tomorrow, but I haven't got to try it yet.
Okay,
Just now got my kettle and my AeroPress and all my stuff out of the boxes.
you'll have to let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's go to the traveling component.
hmm
Would you name for us the rest of the countries? So other than Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, what other countries have you visited?
So I've been to Qatar. I have been to France, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Mexico, Belize, Honduras. Probably missing some. That's what's right at the top of my head that I can
Okay.
recall. Most of those I've been there more than once.
And I'm sure you were impressed with quite a few things for each of those, but if you had to pick up one out, so one of these countries, something specifically that blew your mind away, that's something that's a highlight of your traveling career so far, what would that be? Where and why?
Sure. So I would say there's been a lot of really incredible experiences with travel. Probably the highlight to date would be a safari that we got to take to the Masai Mara in Kenya.
Mm,
Um, that was quite an adventure because there's not a good way to get there. You have to go through some pretty rough roads. But it was really special, just one, because of the geography. It really is incredible. You don't see it coming. You kind of top this hill and it just opens up. any animal you can think of that we always see in a zoo here in the U.S. is just there. We had to
Hmm.
wait. We had to stop and wait for some giraffes across the road. We had to stop and wait for some elephants to get out of the way. Um, just an incredible experience. And really, what made it special is my son actually got to go with me on that trip. And so he's a big animal guy. He says he wants to be a zoologist when he grows up. And so he knew all of the scientific names of all the animals and had it down. It was a really great experience. A lot of fun.
Very nice. Yeah, as you said, I mean, it's one thing to see all of those animals in the zoo when there is a barrier in between you and them, but when it's right there and then it's in front of you, that has to be incredible.
Absolutely.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and tell us now about Trio in general before you get into specifics, but what would you say uh, is the role that Trio played in where you are today? So right now, where you are in East Tennessee, and how did Trio kind of help you get where you are?
Sure. So for me, I started undergraduate in 2021. So, I was a working adult, a non-traditional student. I had worked and supported my wife while she earned her degree. Um, and then she finished up, and I kind of took a step back and thought, I think I can do that. And so I started undergrad really just to prove to myself that I could do it. Um, I think it was somewhere early in my sophomore year. My wife had made a suggestion that I needed to check out Trio and different things that the program offers, and so um, begin to get engaged there. Um, and to say that through Trio things escalated quickly would be an understatement. Uh, I I started out just to prove to myself I could complete a degree. Really wasn't considering graduate school at all, much less a PhD. And so it kind of ripped the lid off of things. And okay, here's all these different possibilities and things I could do with this. And so, yeah, it really started a journey. Just getting engaged initially in some small ways, and went from there.
And I think you as a person, you're an example, and just the big how it all started is that the saying how as long as we want something and we want to make it happen, we can make it happen, and that's kind of how it sounds in your story. You didn't really have a big goal; you just wanted to prove it to yourself, as you say, and
Mhm.
then no matter what it is, you the outcome was that well, yeah, it could be done. For
Yeah.
those that are listening to us or will be listening to us that are not familiar with McNair's program, do you mind sharing what the program is about, and then specifically how did you get in it, and you know anything you want to share on that?
Sure. I ran across a flyer on campus there at Southeastern um, that talked a little bit about McNair. I think I scanned a QR code, looked at a website, um, and to be honest, initially just sort of dismissed the idea. Didn't think that I would be a good fit at all. And then got an email um, inviting me to apply. I think there were several of us, so went in, talked to the director there at the McNair program, um, went on and submitted an application, and much to my surprise, I got accepted. Um, and so the McNair program really, um, there's a couple of key things I think um, that make it stand out, that make it what it is. One of those things is the Summer Research Institute, where you're dedicating time in the summer to research. There's some class component to that. There's a lot of work that you do behind the scenes to make that go. A lot of very helpful content, clarifying content there. Another piece of that I thought was also really helpful and unique is you get exposed to students who are also in the program but are from different disciplines. Um, and you start to see that the approach to research varies. based on what their discipline may be. There may be a little bit different way of doing things. But you get to know those people, see what they're doing, learn what they're interested in, and I ran across a couple of students that were really interested in this particular um, bacteria. Um, and so, they were super passionate, excited about that. I listened. I thought, that's awesome. Glad someone's doing that work. Also glad that's not me doing that work. So it's neat to be exposed to those sorts of things. That was really cool. Another component of McNair really is that encouragement and preparation for grad school. And so pretty early on in my involvement with McNair, there was a workshop. The director put on a workshop about earning a PhD and what that process looked like, how things worked. Um, I think for me, it really helped break down a lot of the barriers that I just assumed, um, existed for me when it came to potentially going to graduate school at all, much less a PhD program. Um, so she talked a lot about, hey, there's funded programs, there's different ways that you can do this. There's all of these opportunities and approaches. Um, so that really helped broaden my perspective of what could be and the potential that was there. And then another thing that I think really made an impact on me as far as my involvement with McNair is the the experiences of being able to go to different research conferences, be around other researchers, look at what other people are doing, and then getting some experience presenting your research. There's a travel component there where you're seeing cities and places that you may not ever go to or not be able to go to. I got to see places like Baltimore and Richmond and Albuquerque and some places I'd never been before. Get to have some exposure to a lot of really great research that's out there, some really intelligent people that are doing some fascinating work. And then getting the reps in on presenting your idea, presenting your work and your results and what you found and why you're so excited about that. And it's not just presenting, but also getting to connect with other students, getting to connect with faculty from other schools, um, and being able to have some of those conversations, during the presentation time and even after. Um, those were all really big experiences for me while I was involved with McNair.
Good, very nice. Adam, I also think you're an example of what when a student takes advantage of the possibilities that are presented. And now again, every single student, more or less, without really more or less, every single student anywhere, specifically at Southeastern, does have a chance to experience, to the fullest. And you're a non-traditional student who, besides the fact that you are so busy and you've been so busy with everything outside of the school, you still took advantage of the opportunities that you had, and just the amount of travels that you made. You spent quite a altogether, you can say, quite a few weeks just traveling as a part of the, either that being McNair program or even as your major. I know, by the way, I was part of the, I don't think that was a committee, what would you call it, but I was kind of grading the presentation for Adam prior to him going to Florida to present. This was for the psychology specifically. So again,
Mhm.
you took the most out of it. You've traveled and you've seen so much of the country just by being a student, and that was something that I think everyone should take advantage of it if possible. Now,
Absolutely.
let's talk about the challenges for a second. So this all seemed great, but could you pinpoint if there was any time, so between 2021 and few months ago, the time when you felt like perhaps you might not that this was not for you, but you might not see the finish line. You might not get where you wanted to get when you started in 2021. And when specifically trio, actually being part of the trio helped you stay within your goal, stay, focused on it and just push forward. Was
Sure.
there a time, a specific thing that happened, or was there just a period that you would pick out?
I think everybody's experience is probably a little bit different. For me, there was a lot of excitement coming in and getting started. So, freshman year, I'm running on highs. Everything's awesome. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This is the coolest thing I've ever done. Um, for me, I hit something of a sophomore slump. That's where I started to encounter, some courses that had a little bit more meat on their bones, and some things that I wasn't super confident in. It's like, okay, that could be a challenge. Um, and I think navigating that alone would be very difficult. Um, and it was one of those times for me. That was about the same time I got engaged with Trio. Um, and being able to talk with Cameron and know that there were people there that I could go and bounce ideas off of. And hey, I'm struggling with this. This is tough. Um, what resources are out there? What tutoring resources exist? Trio helped me get connected with a tutor. I think for my first stats class, because that was intimidating for me. I'm not particularly like the strongest math guy in the world, um, and
So you're
being
not
able,
saying that Dr. Maidville in particular was a tough one, it's just the class itself.
it's just the class, and I think I don't think it has anything really to do with Dr. Maywell. She's such a fantastic teacher. I think it was a lot of it came down to my mindset and then my uncertainty on my skill level. Can I get there? And so being able to have that support, if that's just going and talking to someone or knowing that, okay, now I'm connected with this tutor that I can ask questions, um, take a deeper dive into, the lecture or this week's content or the homework. Um, it really helped. It really helped me get over that hump. And I think for me, once I was able to conquer that first initial big challenge, um, it just gave me so much self confidence moving forward of like, okay, maybe I don't have it, but I'm connected to a community of people. Um, and I can access those resources and I can do this. I may not have it right now, but I have access to things that can help me. I have access to people that can help me. And so it really kind of changed the trajectory for me. Um, Once I got over that hump, I don't know that I ever really let off the gas from there. It was like, okay, let's go. If this is what's up, if this is what I'm taking this semester, awesome. Let's go for it. Um, Go full send, get whatever help I need, but I'm going to go all in and give everything I got to it.
Very cool. Again, what I'm hearing from your story is another hidden advice to others and anyone listening to this. Pretty much the fact that whenever we all are facing something that we can handle, it's not that big of a deal, then yes, we show ourselves the full potential of it and everything is, easy and smooth. But exactly when we're faced with something that is challenging, when something up there is telling us, okay, let me see you now, let me see if you can handle this now, that's when things happen. It can go either way. So that's that's a great, I said advice, but it's more than that. It's something to just think about. And no matter who, no matter the age, no matter the point of life, this happens to everyone every now and then. I'm gonna let Cameron pick your brain for a little bit before I come back and hit you with one more one more situational question, one of my favorite segments. But back to him now.
So, what's the most apparent way that being in student support services and McNair Scholars helped your career trajectory that without it, you wouldn't be where you're at today?
Hmm. I think the most, I think for me, the most apparent way is just the exposure. Um, it is, I was exposed to new ideas. I was exposed to new possibilities. Was able to engage with people, other students, faculty that maybe I would have met, but maybe I wouldn't have or been exposed to. Um, I think for me that probably is the fundamental thing. Um, the I talked about that workshop earlier. The name of the workshop was PhD. Why not me? Um, and it's like, okay, I'm going to go to that. I don't think that's real. I don't think I can do that, but I'm going to go to that anyway. I need a Cameron needs me. He needs me to check this list thing. So let me just go to this workshop. It fits. Um, and it completely changed the trajectory of where I was going with my education, where I was going with my career, and ultimately led me to where I'm at today.
You're talking about the scholarship that you got,
Yeah.
the scholarship
Yeah.
form, the check the box.
Yeah.
You had to
Yeah.
go to a certain amount of services that we provide, and workshops was one of those. And I
Yeah.
think that so that random scholarship helped you to where you're at today. That's
It,
crazy.
it it did. It exposed me to all sorts of things. Those workshops. I know sometimes when you're in the middle of a semester and everything's swimming and everything's on fire and you're trying to figure out, what do I do next, and everything's due. Um, Sometimes that can maybe feel like it's a little bit of busy work, but they're really not. There's so much great content that are in those workshops, and I went to a bunch of them. There's so much good content. Uh, there's so many resources that are available, things to think about, learn about, ways that you can change how you're doing things that really are going to help you and benefit you. So I would definitely encourage anybody who's currently a student in Trio, take advantage of those workshops. They are worth your time. It may be a little bit of a sacrifice, and I get that, but I promise you the payoff is huge. It is huge.
I think you even came to some of the ones that we talk about, like financial literacy.
Yeah.
I think that,
Yeah.
yeah, and those topics, I mean, I always learn something from those too. I'm like, oh, wow, this is really useful information.
Hmm.
Um, and all these students are getting all this knowledge that wasn't even offered to my generation whenever I was in a trio program. And well,
Hmm.
I was in the student support services program here. Um, but really, that one workshop kind of set the ball in motion for you to be in your first semester of your doctoral program where you're at today.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
So how do you think that where would you be without being in student support services, without being in McNair? What would that picture look like?
Hmm. That's that's a great question. Life didn't go that direction, and so I have to kind of stop and roll the clock back a little bit. It it wasn't that I had a bad life. I didn't. I liked my life. I liked what I was doing professionally. I enjoyed that. None of those things were negative. I think in my case, I would have still finished my undergraduate degree, just because I am pretty hard headed. And if I set my mind to it, I'm going to get this done one way or another. So I think I would have finished, but I don't know that I would have taken it past that, or even known that, hey, there are all of these other doors or all of these other opportunities that are available out there, um, that really they're opportunities to improve yourself, but it's bigger than just you, because it's not just an opportunity that's centered around you. um, when it comes to your academic work, especially when you get to a graduate school level, it gives you an opportunity to contribute to the sciences. It gives you an opportunity to impact people in a new way, in a really meaningful, practical way. Um, and so, again, it's not that I had a bad setup before. I just think I would have finished my degree and went back to what I was doing and would have never been aware that that would was ever even a possibility.
The circle has widened because you were exposed to different things and different
Yeah.
ideas.
Yes.
And I remember like your junior year, like you started like you said, you improve yourself, you improve your mind, you improve the entire part of who you are, and you just had a different, more focused kind of mindset. You were
Hmm.
always focused, but it was more like driven.
Hmm.
There was more of an ambition behind it. That's what I remember. And I think that kind of started when you got in McNair.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
for
was like,
sure.
I'm going to the finish line. I'm not just playing around here. I'm not just getting the degree. I'm getting the degree with another goal, and I'm interested in this type of research. And you would talk a lot about the ways that you were interested in research. And I don't think that would have happened without your participation in
Yeah.
McNair.
Yeah. I don't think it would have either.
Well, I'll hand it back to Philip.
Yeah, I have something ready for you. What how does your weekend look like? How long have you been there now at the East Tennessee?
So we have been, we've officially been in Tennessee now for, we're coming up right on a month. I think we got here right before the 1st of August.
Okay.
Um, because my kids that are still at home, they started school before I did. So we had to get here and get them enrolled. And so there's been some back and forth. We had to go back and get our things and that kind of thing. But we've been here about a month now.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll just, we're gonna role play anyway, so we're gonna role play that part too.
Okay.
Let's sometimes I take our guests to the past, sometimes
Hmm.
to the future. It just depends on the time. You're gonna stay in the present. Well, we'll go maybe 2 days ahead. So it's a Saturday, this coming weekend. I don't know what your plans are, but let's say that you woke up and or you're going to wake up, it's in the future, and you decide to go visit a local coffee shop to try and experiment on some, new coffee, new taste. And at the same time, you're going to work on whatever you're working on currently for your PhD. So you're going to bring your laptop, you're just going to get into the zone you ordered, and then you're going to sit, and then you happen to just run into this guy who was ordering right after you. He noticed you wearing a certain gear that he recognized. He said something about it. Now you're engaging in a conversation, and little by little he ends up telling you his story, which is pretty much nothing unusual. He is in his, let's say, 30s. uh, he mentions that he is married, he has kids. He's always been interested in getting a bachelor's degree because he never did after high school, and he is interested in psychology in particular. He would like to study that, but life has just been busy with kids and family and work, and he is trying to find the motivation pretty much and just time to get into it. He's just not sure about it, so he has been postponing it year after year for the past few years. Is the same story, and it doesn't happen. And as he's telling you this, somehow magically, word of the day, magically you realize that uh, you're talking to yourself. His name is Adam. He is the younger version of you, and he is literally telling you and giving you something that you already know. So you know your mindset from years back before you started college career, and now, because you're on your way out and you can't just spend the rest of your life with yourself, you only have a couple minutes left. And what would be something that you tell yourself, your younger self, in that situation, knowing everything that you know now, being where you are now after what you've been through in your college career? What's the piece of advice you give yourself?
I think probably for me, the one piece of advice I would give is time is going to pass no matter what. It can feel daunting to start a program and go, man, I'm committing to a 4 year process. I'm committing to a 5, 6, 7 year process. Um, it can feel a little bit like you're standing at the bottom of a mountain looking all the way up there going, how am I ever going to get there? Um, but whether you choose to take on that challenge or not, that time is still going to pass.
Mhm.
And I think the saddest thing we could do is to do nothing because that time is going to elapse. And then that's where you're going to get into a ton of regret. And you're going to ask yourself, what could I have done? What should I have done? What could have been different? Um, and really using that as a motivation to push yourself. It comes down to, um, okay, yeah, this might be a lot. It might be uncomfortable. There may be times when it's really busy and I'm not sure if I'm going to get it all done. What am I doing here? What I'm doing is accomplishing this huge goal because I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste life. I get one go. We all get one opportunity at this thing we call life, and you want to make the most out of it. So why wait? What's the purpose of waiting? There's not going to be a perfect time. There's not going to be a perfect, okay, now I'm finally ready. If you're waiting on that, you'll never get there. You just have to make a decision. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go after this. And yeah, it may be hard, but um, I'm going to use the resources that are available to me. I'm going to work hard at this, and I'm going to push on my own mindset. I'm going to push on how I think about myself. Um, that I can do this. I don't have to be the same 5 years from now as I am today. That I think for me, that would probably be the one thing is that time is passing. What are you doing with it? Um, Maximize it. Use it for what it's worth.
Yeah, here's the follow-up question. Is this something you would tell your younger self if you magically saw yourself this weekend? Or was part of this what you actually came to realization back then?
That was so much of my motivating kind of thoughts and thinking in undergraduate, especially when things got tough. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, there's times when it's like, man, I'm exhausted. I do not want to read this chapter. I don't want to do this homework. I don't want to look at another stinking discussion board. Um, and I just had to keep coming back to that same sort of thinking of like, okay, time's passing. I might as well use it. I'm here today. Um, Let me go all in. Let me give it all I got. Um, Let the chips kind of fall where they fall, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make the most out of it.
Awesome. I love all of that. I'm going to let Cameron take us to segment 3. And before he does, we have quite a few people on this episode today. And this is the time when I'm going to remind everyone that if you have any questions for Adam, if you have anything to say to Adam, you can use the chat box, type it out, and we will read it as the opportunity comes. But you can start thinking about it now and feel free to just whatever you want to say. And we're gonna do that right after the segment 3 is over. Cameron?
So, Adam, I don't know if I was too obvious with the puns for can do Canler, but in the volunteer
Not at
state,
all.
I was trying, it was very, subtle, but I
Yeah.
tried, I tried my best. Uh, so, I think you have a background with ministering to people and in the auto parts industry specifically there, right? That's you just had church, right, in the auto parts store. Um, um, no, you actually were a minister too.
Yeah.
But so I'm sure you've answered this question before, but how do you routinely practice gratitude in your day? Like if you were to explain how to do that to someone who'd never done it before,
Yeah.
how would you say that you do it?
I, I think for me, I've had to learn to not always look for like these huge things. I think a lot of times when it comes to gratitude, we think we have to come up with like this really huge monumental thing that we can be thankful for. It has to be this really long, elaborate something that's just out of the ordinary and super special, and then I can be thankful, and then I can be grateful. And I've been there a lot, and probably my personality, my tendencies maybe to be that way. Um, so one thing I've had to really work on is to slow down and learn to be grateful for the small things. Um, Learning to be thankful and grateful for the fact that okay, I woke up today and yeah, I'm tired, but I get to go to class. Yeah, I get to go to school today. There are people in the world who would love nothing more than to do this, and they can't. I'm getting to do this. Okay, I can be thankful for that. I can be grateful for that. It's being grateful for the people that are around you, those classmates that, a lot of times when you're in a major, you end up in the same classes with the same people kind of over and over again, and you get to know one another. And maybe there's like a tiny little bit of trauma bonding based on what it is you guys have been through together, or what courses you navigated together. Uh, but learning to look over, okay, that person's here. They got up, they got here. They probably didn't want to do it either. I can be grateful for that person. I can be grateful for that connection. Um, so I think for me, it's coming back to the little things, and learning to just say thank you. Like I'm grateful. The sun came up today and it was beautiful here. By the way, this is not a dig, but it was 56 when I left for school this morning. So, um,
Well,
yeah,
bring some of that here this
I'll
way. It's
just
like,
send it your way. I don't know how to do that, but yeah, it little cool here in the morning. So like today I'm driving in, I'm just looking around and okay, thank you. Like this is awesome. Like I'm grateful for the opportunity that this is real life. I get to do this. So
I
You
like the
you're
fact that you said you get to instead of have to.
yeah.
uh, and you're also preaching the right thing. This has been the theme for me, I guess, this semester with our students, to just be a little more aware of those little things and just positive things in general.
Hmm.
Because I just said that yesterday. I was talking to a big group of the student athletes that are freshmen, and I told them, all of us are always going to notice things that we do that happen to us that are negative, and then that's going to just pull us down more and more. The more things there are, the more we go down with it. But whenever something positive happens, we don't really give it a credit. We're not really aware of it. It's just something that is expected, so we keep going. And it should
Hmm.
be the opposite. Maybe not the opposite, but at least with those positive things, we do want to recognize that. You said it yourself. You want to slow down, and even if it's something small, you want to give it a little, give it a little credit, be grateful for it, because there are things I told them yesterday too. No matter what happens, there's always going to be one thing that you do every single day that's going to make either you happy or a better person, or it's going to make someone else happy.
Yeah.
We just have to recognize those moments.
Yeah.
We do have a um, couple of messages from both students and staff. So one of the current McNair students, Alexis, appreciates you sharing your story, and she is very inspired by your success and hard work.
Oh, well, thank you, Alexis.
And then we have Nick, who says that it's great to hear from you. He still remembers the trip that you guys took to Oklahoma Research Day in Tahlequah, and sitting at the lunch table when you received the phone call for your PhD admissions over at East Tennessee. It is clear that you are an outstanding academic and researcher. He is so glad to see that you're pursuing research as a career, and he is grateful that he got to be a part of your journey. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, that's a good memory. Yeah, I won't forget that day anytime soon.
And then we have Rachel as well. Rachel is also appreciating you sharing your testimony. The way you spoke truth and life into your younger self was so kind and wise. She is inspired. She is a non traditional student and struggles with the balance of life. She will remember your encouragement when she is down, she says.
Awesome.
And here's Darla. Your growth mindset is showing.
That's been my thing for about 3.5 years now.
You might break the record for the number of messages you're getting from the audience. J.R. Jones is one of the students that is regularly. I don't think has she missed an episode at all.
I
That's
think
awesome.
one maybe,
In the
but
beginning,
been very, very, very regular as a
she
person.
says three. Okay, she doesn't have a question for once, but she says thank you so much. I didn't really know much about McNair, so it was nice to hear more about it.
I love it. I love it. Go
So,
check it out. It's worth it.
so I have I can actually say I was texting you when you were in Kampala, Uganda.
Yeah.
And you were like trying to get out of your intro to literature class in summer. I remember that.
Yeah. That, that was, I remember that. The only memory I really have there is just like, okay, this is stressful, but it's going to be all right. The time zone difference was so wonky because it's like 8 hours ahead there. So it was, yeah, I do remember that.
We're getting a lot of messages, but nobody asked a question yet. And Dr. Maidwell, I was hoping she will say something, but it's a no question from her either. She says that you're a lifelong learner, which means that you are such an inspiration for all the students who are able to join in on this conversation.
So I have a question. What
Mhm.
is going to be your research focus for what is your general research focus? I know it's going to probably change or be adjusted or adapted for your doctoral degree. What are you thinking of that topic will be?
So I'm really early uh, in the journey here. Most likely at this point, it's going to probably revolve around kind of this recurring, um, for a lack of a better word, obsession that I have with poverty, um, in the psychological impact and underpinnings of poverty, how that impacts us, why some people are able to escape, why some aren't. The lab that I'm in here at ETSU, their focus is on addiction research and recovery. So very adjacent. You see those things working together a lot. So I'm sure it will shift and adjust. But I think generally it will probably be something in that vein.
So that's part of the reason TRIO programs were created
Mm-hmm.
to shift people from one socioeconomic status that you grow up in poverty, you move out of that, you're able to be sustainable financially and career wise and
Mm-hmm.
move to a place of independence. So that's interesting that your research kind of mirrors to what the programs that you were in.
Yeah, well, I will never forget. This is a Dr. Madewell saying, and I have at this point stolen it. I don't even give her credit anymore if I'm not talking to Southeastern people. But research is me search. Um, and I grew up in poverty and didn't have a lot growing up. And we hit that first research methods class, and it's like, okay, well, why did I get out, but I have family members who didn't? And what's the difference? And there's got to be more here than just luck. We have the same DNA and genetics and culture and background and experiences, and some of us got out and some of us didn't. And why did that happen? Um, and so, yeah, it started there, but I think it's definitely expanding still. So,
We do have a couple of questions now. First one, I'm not sure if JR missed the beginning of this. She is asking what has been your favorite place to visit and why.
uh,
We kind of went over this in the beginning, but if you want to add something else,
a
please do.
little bit, because it is not hard to talk about. I absolutely love Africa. My favorite place is Uganda. Um, in one, it's beautiful. The geography is awesome. There's all sorts of wildlife and things that we don't see in southeastern Oklahoma or in the U.S. I think my biggest why, though, is just the people that you meet when you're there, and how friendly and hospitable and caring that they are. Um, I have people that I have connections with there that it's like, man, it's almost like we're family. We're not blood related, but it's almost like we're family. And so I'll probably keep going back again and again and again because I love the people there and I love the country, and it's an incredible place.
Awesome. I personally, I almost said I've never been to Africa. That's a lie. Actually, yes, the very first. So for those that don't know, I'm not from here. You can tell I am from Europe, but the very first country I've ever been to, if I'm not missing something, was an African country. I went to Tunisia when I was 7 years old. I just started playing tennis, and it was kind of like a camp, a week or
Hmm.
10 days long camp that our coaches took us to, and it was in Tunisia, northern Africa. I remember that. Now, a more difficult question, perhaps more challenging one, coming from both Dr. Madewell and Rachel, who is agreeing with this. They're asking if you can come back again next August. I don't know if they're referring to come back to the podcast or perhaps come to the campus and give us another chance to hear about your challenges and success. And I think that coming back to campus would be much better so we can all visit with you.
Well, yes, I absolutely would love to. I think we actually have plans to be in Durant the first week of August next year, so that could possibly work out. And I am sure that there will be challenges and successes to talk about. This is the end of the first week of classes, so I don't know much yet, but I'm positive that there's going to be some challenges and some successes to elaborate on.
You're very
Yeah.
busy, so this was like the only time to get you because
Yeah.
otherwise I knew the semester was going to get busier, and we've gotten the great fortune of getting a lot of people who are really good interviews before they get really busy.
Mm,
So you're
yeah.
one of those.
It's
I'm glad we
funny that
found the time that worked.
he just said that about it, and then just before the episodes, one of the students reached out to me and said, "Is do I have to check in for this month?" And my answer was, "Listen, there's never a wrong time to check in. You can always check in." And then I get back, well, everything's going well, but it's only second week of classes, so we'll see. So that's what just Adam said. I mean, I just started. We'll see in a year
Yeah.
where I am and what happens.
Just keep showing up. Just keep showing up.
And I want to also reflect on one thing you said earlier. Now I just remembered about the time. Well, that was when you were giving yourself an advice. That is also another mind blowing thing that all of us sometimes, depending on what we're doing, we kind of want the time to go by faster. We want a certain day to come sooner. And then the opposite. We want a time to slow down when we're having too much fun, when we're enjoying something. We wish that time doesn't go as fast. But the fact is that no matter what, time always goes the same speed and
Mhm.
it never stops. That's what you were saying, if whenever we have something that we're thinking about doing or going somewhere or saying something to someone and thinking it might not be the right time, well, will there ever be the right time? If
Yeah.
that's where it gets tricky. The time is clock is ticking, time is going. You never know if tomorrow you're going to be more prepared or maybe even further away from doing what you're thinking about doing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
now is
Just,
the best time.
yeah, I think you just got to stay in the moment. And I don't know what tomorrow is, but I have today. I have right now. Let me maximize it. I don't want to look back at life and have all these regrets because I was waiting for like this perfect moment or this perfect scenario that's probably not real. It's just something I come up with in my head. Um, I have today, so let me stay in the moment and make the most out of today. And if today's not a great day, there's always tomorrow. Um, But
I did
the
not know
reality,
that we had the same kind of philosophy towards that, like one moment at a time type
yeah,
philosophy. I
yeah,
think that's counter to a lot of Western type thinking. But I had no idea we had that in common.
yeah, yeah. Well, and the reality is, I mean, I even talking about the the feeling you can have when you're taking on a big challenge of like, man, I'm committing 3 4 years to this thing. Now that I've finished at Southeastern, like I can remember like graduation day and like sitting there going like that went so fast. Like I felt like I just got started like in so many ways. It's like, yeah, it's 4 years, but it goes by so quickly. Once you're through it, you look back and you go, man, that was so fast.
Well, and you were at our recognition event for people graduating, and you got the McNair pin and everything. And
Hmm.
I think that was the first one that we did, or maybe the second, but that we had great participation in that. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of students at that event were like, "Oh wow, it went so quickly," and
Hmm.
this was a big part of my life. And now I'm going on to, it's like a feeling of like acceptance and success, and then also kind of uncertainty for the future, but also like knowing, so it's a sense of certainty that you've succeeded, but then like, wow, I'm going to go on to this other big thing, the
Hmm.
next step. And you're not the only one out of that group that actually a, the people that were in McNair from your group have gone to some pretty cool things.
Yeah. Yeah. But we had a really great group. Um, that was the other thing is like being able to go to all those conferences and you did the SRI things and you did so many things together that like even when your time at Southeastern is over, those connections are still there. Those are still my friends. Like we'll randomly text one another or check in or like see something on social media like that's so cool. I can't believe you're getting to do that. Like so that yeah, it starts in those little interactions, but it carries forward in life for sure.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Adam. I am very proud of you, and we are all very proud of you. And you've done a great interview, inspired a lot of people, and I hope that you get to meet some people on campus that work in Trio.
Yeah.
There's I think I've given you a name of there's a person in Tennessee that's pretty big in Trio. I can't think of their name, but uh, I'll text you his name. I'm sure I'll think
Yeah.
of it. But
Yeah.
Tennessee has a very strong trio association because their regional association is really big.
Yeah. The trio office at ETSU is actually in my building. So I need to stop by and say hello.
Yeah, yeah. Ronnie Brooks, that's the name of the person. Ronnie
Ah,
Brooks
yeah.
is a big name in trio nationally from Tennessee. The way that he was referred at our conference in March was the myth, the man, the legend, Ronnie Brooks. So I think that's maybe how he's introduced everywhere, maybe. But you're not a myth, but you are the man and the legend. So I would say, we know you're not a myth because you're talking to us, so we can see that you're successful. So I would say you're legendary and very approachable and very believable.
Yeah.
But when you see Ronnie or when you see Trio people on that campus, everyone in Trio always says Trio works. So you've
Yep.
shown us how it works, and your interview was very great. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for the opportunity. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Adam. Definitely would really genuinely love to catch up with you in at least a year from now and to hear about your program. Being someone who chose that field, and then for me personally, I with the psychology background and teaching a class now and thinking and considering teaching more in the future, perhaps getting a PhD as well. And no, not because I'm not ready, simply because I'm doing other things before that happens. So I'm not postponing. It's just whenever it happens, it will happen. But always a good feedback is welcomed.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Adam, and your interview was very great.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.